Hello and welcome to Ask the Therapist, Sophie Ward. How are you?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you. Hot would
I
be
know.
the way. Yes.
Yeah, ever the modest.
Oh yes. Oh,
I'm very hot.
very
We're doing this as we record. It probably by the time it goes out there, it'll be freezing and snowing. But at the moment, 30-degree heat and nobody should be working. So this is a slightly different episode than normal because this is the start of a series that we're doing to promote Therapist Corner, which is a community that we are just building and putting together for therapists either in private practice or looking to scale and build their private practice. So we have come together to build this community. It's all happened quite quickly. I suppose we'll talk about the book I'm writing, The Therapist Guide to Private Practice, building a values-based business, which will be out next year. And as part of that, I think we wanted to build a community, and it was going to happen next year, but it's all happened a lot earlier because of the work I've been doing with Sarah Rees. And so we're going to talk about that. So we're going to introduce you to us, Therapist Corner. So this episode might not be for everybody. We will be coming back to doing more about mental health stuff in about 4 weeks, where I'll be interviewing Amy, who is our first founding member on Therapist Corner, and she's going to be talking about low self-esteem. But for today, I should introduce you as my partner. We have been, I kind of always presume that people know we're together, but then I think sometimes they don't. We were just trying to figure out how long we've actually been together.
And I said, don't put me on the spot. And I was
like, 20 years.
We think.
When we first met, I was a nurse and in the NHS. Sophie Ward had a really, really brilliant job in corporate banking world, security. And that's where we were. Never did we think our worlds collided. You've always worked in IT, but do you want to tell us a little bit about you and a little bit about your career?
Yeah, no. So it is. We never really thought about kind of working together. It just sort of happened really kind of organically over the years, and we were doing really separate jobs. So Sarah's very much been in, you've been in the care space a long time, and I'd always been in the corporate world. I've been working in IT and working in banking for many years. I originally started out many years ago working for British Aerospace. I actually worked in the old kind of computer rooms where they used to have kind of tape systems and things like that. So going back, dating myself quite a bit.
I don't even know what that means. No therapists listen to this. Nobody knows what that means.
Oh, okay.
Well, it sounds very technical.
No, it's not. They used to have the old kind of big tapes instead of little computers and stuff that we have now. They used to have big tape systems, not the kind of punched things that you used to get, but the big tape systems. Right. But that was a long time ago, and I started out there just working in support and working on kind of large computer systems as well, and then really moved from there more into a full kind of technical space. I worked a lot with kind of Microsoft products, working on systems integration as well. And that took quite a few years. I enjoyed doing that, going around doing kind of implementations and all sorts of different things. And from there, I kind of moved into project management, which I love doing. I enjoyed kind of working with the different people, but I slowly started to feel a little bit frustrated by some of the kind of corporate sort of world and the sort of restraints that you kind of have to work within. It lost some of its kind of creativity for me. So although I enjoyed working with people, I enjoyed some of the technical aspects, I was struggling working in that large kind of corporate space. And I think banking, just being kind of honest, really, it finished me off, to be honest. So I couldn't.
Out-of-date processes didn't then performance reviews you struggled with. So if we go back to, I was in an IAPT role. I trained as a CBT therapist, and because you were working in the banks, you had a brilliant salary at the time. You supported me going into private practice, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Yes, very generous of me, I think.
Very generous. It came back to hit me on the bum, though. A few years later, I was the main bread earner, and you took a year off. So wasn't expecting that. You let me finish the NHS and supported me setting up my business. And you became, at that point, you did my website for me, didn't you?
That's where it first kind of started, because you were, I'd worked on it in a corporate space, but then I'd not done it kind of in small businesses. And I think yours was the first time that we actually started doing that kind of website-based work and branding work as well.
Yeah. So I launched my first website, and then I think, well, we did it for a while, didn't we? And then I think somebody else, another therapist, did a website very similar to mine. So I got you to completely redo it for me.
Yes, you were very upset about that. So I remember. Yes. Yeah. So we had to redo it.
So I needed a whole new website very quickly, which really up-leveled your skills. And my website did very well for me, didn't it? And especially, I think the second one you did, I think I'm on about my fourth now, and people started asking me about who did your website, because there was just not much out there.
You started getting people kind of inquiring through that, and I was still, I suppose, doing those types of things sort of off the side of the desk a little bit, and then it's slowly through that it started to become something that we thought, oh, maybe I can do this kind of full-time and pull away from this kind of sort of corporate contracting work that I was doing, that, as Sarah said, it paid really well, but it wasn't bringing me a lot of kind of satisfaction. So we just started just building up that kind of website.
Oh, my business kind of took off. I got busier and busier. We saved a year's salary in the bank, didn't we, for you? And you went and became a graphic designer.
I did. I went off. I did some more studying kind of in the website space, and then I went off and did a 9-month course on kind of graphic design, which was really intense, but absolutely fantastic course, which I'd highly recommend for anybody else to kind of do. It was done through a company called Shillington College, and it was really good. You really got to know the ins and outs of doing graphic design, and it stretched me a lot, but I absolutely loved doing it. And everything I learned in that course, I've been able to bring to bear on the day-to-day work that I do now. It's in everything that I do now, a lot of the disciplines from it, a lot of the structure behind it, a lot of the creativity, etc. It was, and I'd never dreamed, I don't think, of really being able to do that. I'd always been interested in graphic design, and then, as you say, your business kind of took off, and it just gave us this opportunity to really do something different. I always thought I'd be stuck in banking, and that was it.
But you were a student.
I was rescued. Yes.
Yes. So that's how it came. So then I had to pay the bills, and that was not my plan. Anyway.
Oh, you were so grumpy.
So that happened for a while, didn't it? And then, unfortunately, then you set up the website design business, but your dad got ill, and we were in that position where we just focused on your dad, didn't we? For about, I think it was about a year.
It was a kind of rough period of time. So over a year or so, we had to sort of change things. I was struggling to really being able to focus on running my own business and providing the care that I needed to provide. Not only kind of the physical stuff, but just the mental headspace for it more than anything else. So that set us back quite a bit, I think.
And it also, because we couldn't focus on your business, I was working, you were with your dad, you decided to take a part-time role, which I think you were looking for anyway, to work with the bigger agencies. So you now you work with OSF, don't you, which is a huge corporate company, so you do that part-time, and then part-time you do kind of therapist websites,
which works really well. Because I get to do all the stuff I love kind of privately, you know, when I can kind of fit it in. But then I also get to do work with kind of larger businesses as well on kind of their e-commerce sites, which is really fascinating stuff as well. So so the two work really well together. I just have to keep that kind of mental discipline of, you know, kind of where you are, you know, which company you're kind of working for, but
Tell
also,
us about,
you know,
PocketSite.
Sorry, say again.
Tell us about PocketSite, because that's
So PocketSite is a it's effectively, it's a website builder that's designed specifically for therapists. So everything about it is all in that kind of appealing to the kind of healthcare kind of market, but also about building websites that are going to be easy for therapists to build, and also are going to appeal to their kind of client base as well. So that took about 6 to 9 months to get off the ground, to actually develop that solution and build it out.
And what was your motivation for doing that?
Well, really, it was just about being able to service more therapists than I was able to do through building kind of individual sites. Because with an individual website, you've got a lot of working parts for it. And the demands of actually building, and it's expensive. And the demands of kind of the clients I was getting, I just couldn't actually work with everybody kind of individually building single sites. So PocketSite allows me to service far more therapists than I could ever done kind of without it. I love doing that as well.
It allows therapists to have a website that's quite cost effective. That was my understanding of it as well.
Yes,
you know, if they get a bespoke website from you, it's quite expensive, but PocketSites are cost effective.
So most therapists aren't looking for a website that's got loads of functionality on it. They just want a website that's going to appeal to their particular clients, and is going to have a contact form on it, is going to have kind of clear calls to action of, you know, contact me here, get in touch here, read more here. So that the functionality that a therapist needs off the ground is quite simple. And you don't need huge amounts of technology to get that going. And PocketSite can deliver that really, as you say, cost effectively. I mean, we're running at around, it's £30 a month at the moment to have a PocketSite. I can design it for you. You can design it yourself, no problem at all, but I can design it for you. So there's a fee of £5.50 to do that. Whereas if I was doing individual sites, then, you know, you've got upwards of 1,500 to do those individual sites. So from a purely cost-effective point of view, then PocketSite works really well for those therapists that are just starting out. But equally, if you want to move on from it as well, there's a clear migration path from it as well, to other kind of WordPress solutions as well. So you're not trapped into that one solution of your business.
For the last few years, I've been doing a bit more coaching with therapists in private practice, because I get asked for that quite a bit. You've been doing PocketSite, and I did build a community on Facebook for therapists in private practice, which kind of lost its way and became a bit of a demon, really, that took up an awful lot of time.
Took over your life. It took over your life, I think.
It certainly did take over my life, and you don't get paid for it. And I suppose one of the reasons for setting up the Facebook page was to kind of support therapists in building private practice, working mainly with self-referring clients. And if they were going to work with referral companies, around getting a fairer deal. And that, I think the referral companies ended up coming into the Facebook kind of group, and it, I suppose because it's free, it was I don't know. It just lost its way. It just, for me, it's still going. I think it serves an absolutely brilliant purpose in terms of supporting people and giving people that sense of community, but it wasn't sustainable for me
And I
any
think
longer.
you wanted to focus on more on the business aspects as well, I
Yes,
think,
that's
rather than looking at the kind of some of the clinical side of things. It was all about, you've got therapists that are starting out, and it's how you support them and coach them to grow their business and get the client base that they need, so that they can make a good living out of it, a decent living out of it as well.
We spent about a year or so doing weekly emails to our people on their email list for PocketSite. So you can sign up to be on the email list through PocketSite, and you were getting weekly emails. And that we were writing those emails, putting a lot of effort into them, people really enjoying them, we're getting great feedback, but they're just going into the abyss a little bit, weren't they?
Yeah.
And then we got the book deal. You're writing the chapter on data protection, because GDPR, lots of people think that that's really my thing, but actually you're the brains behind all the products we have around GDPR. And you've done a you've done a section on branding and the website chapter as well, haven't you? And
I've all about SEO as well. So so that's been really interesting, doing that piece of work as
we've got that, and I suppose doing that book made us start to think about maybe we need a membership and doing another community, but this time it really has to work for us. And just a couple of months ago, I follow Sarah Tasker, who is an Instagram influencer. She's got over, I think, about 300,000 followers on Instagram, and I've been part of her Insta retreat for years, and that's the platform that helped me learn about Instagram. And I found her community really interesting. And I got an email to say, we were talking about a membership, weren't we? And we were thinking about platform.
Yeah, I mean, we were thinking about how do we kind of serve more people, because a lot of the questions that we get asked from therapists are the same. It's the same questions. And we do the the products that help in some of that space. So we do the GDPR products, but we also do the getting started checklist, etc., through PocketSite, and we offer some of those products that can help in that space. But again, we were still just getting the same kind of questions, and we were thinking about a membership site, but then we were being held back because you're working on the book, I'm doing some of the book, and we've got our day jobs to do. And setting up a membership site brings a lot of its own kind of headaches technically, and also from a cost point of view as well. And I think it was more me, to be honest. I think it was putting me off, because I knew there was a lot of legwork.
Well, the technical side, I can create the content, and a lot of the content we had in the emails, but you're the techie person, aren't you? So you'd be
and that whole process of onboarding people to a membership site, from the encouraging people to sign up, what they get when they first sign up, making sure that they've got enough content once they get into the membership. It all takes an awful lot of planning out and thinking ahead of time. And I just simply felt that with the book,
whichever way we looked at it, we were like, there would be a community element, and the only thing we could think of was a Facebook group, until I got an email from Sarah Tasker, because I'm on her email list, that said, I am shifting my business and it's going on to Substack, and you can join. And never heard of Substack, but it's and I looked into it and I was like, oh my God, this has come at absolutely the right time. So Substack is, how it's different from other social media platforms is that there's no algorithm, and there's not going to be an algorithm as well. So if you put good content out there, other people recommend it and read it and share it, and that's how you'll grow your platform. And also, it's we could transfer our email list over to it. Substack will grow our email list for us. We will continue to put out emails, but there's an option to be paid for work that we've been doing anyway for a long time. So for the price of kind of a couple of coffees a month, £8 a month, you can get access to a weekly blog post, which used to be the weekly email, but also it provides a platform where we can do Q&A sessions, which we're, for the paid subscribers, we're doing 2 half-hour quickfire Q&A sessions. We can put videos on there, podcasts, all sorts of things in one space. So you have the community element, you have the emails, and also they're not going to bring in paid advertising either. So Substack make the money, they take 10% of the kind of whatever you earn, rather than trying to get to to get people to create content to sell to advertisers. So they sell space to advertisers like Instagram and Facebook. There's more and more adverts coming on that. So it's a more ethical platform in a way, is that?
I think we were struggling to think about the right place for a community, and we looked at all the other options that are out there, and there is a number of options outside of Facebook groups, but they all seem to have quite a steep kind of learning curve with them, and various kind of pros and cons of each, plus a cost that goes with it as well. And I mean, I was a bit skeptical when I'd never heard of Substack. I was a bit skeptical of kind of using it, and I started to have a look at it, and the more I started to use it, I thought this is a really good platform for pushing out the kind of content we've
Sarah,
got.
you are totally right. Sarah,
well, I don't think I went that far, but steady. But I wasn't a great fan. I was. I mean, I listened to I think Sarah Tasker talking about it as well, and did some more kind of research on it, and it just made sense for what we were trying to do. And it was, for me, the great thing was the setup was so minimal on it to get going.
So easy and straightforward. But the more we've looked into it, the more we can see how we can put really great content out there. People can get free content, just the emails that they've always had, and they can get that for free. Or if they want a bit more information and a bit more time with us, they can get that really cheaply. And then there's the founding member option, which I think we've got it we're starting it off at $397 for a year, where people then get all of what we've just discussed, but they also get they're spending an hour with me and you, where we really go through their business, give them a lot more intensive support, and they do an hour's power hour, don't they, group coaching call with us once a month. So there's that element to it.
And I think it started to, because one of the things I'd really been keen on doing is starting to do kind of courses as well. So I think with Substack, we found a platform where we can start not doing a full-on course, but we can start to do kind of some video that goes through various things, those kind of pain points that we know all therapists have, and we can say, okay, well, here's a video that just kind of goes through it. And
like, what is SEO is going to probably be one of the first ones. What is SEO? How you can do it? And because people need to know, like we've been talking to therapists, and that's one of the areas where therapists generally get ripped off amazingly, phenomenally, by lots of agencies. They end up paying hundreds of pounds each month for SEO. But if just an hour's training with you, they can understand it that bit better, so they don't get ripped off.
And it's just having that, sometimes you just need to have that bit of knowledge yourself. It doesn't mean necessarily that you're going to do all of that SEO work yourself and become an SEO specialist. What it means is you can have a level of understanding that if you wanted to do that, you could start to invest the time to do a little bit more on the SEO side yourself. But equally, if you're going to go to an agency about it, you've got some knowledge when you're talking to that agency, so you can protect yourself a little bit more as well, because there's lots of kind of snake oil out there around SEO, and it isn't a complicated subject. In fact, over time, it's becoming less complicated because of the maturity of the way Google is able to understand content on websites. So even the nature of SEO is starting to change over time as well.
So on the platform, we've got a podcast where we've just put the Q&As on there. We've not done any. We have done videos. We're doing therapist spotlights with our paid subscribers, because it gives us a platform to elevate people's businesses. So therapists that are looking to take their business to the next level and want that visibility, which is so hard to get, they're coming on as the therapist to share their expertise and knowledge, which the general public is going to get be able to hear, which is fantastic. But we've done therapist spotlights with people. We've put those videos on YouTube and Substack, and that's where I interview a therapist for 30 minutes about how they set up in private practice and ask those nosy questions of, is it financially sustainable, and what have you been the struggles and successes. And I
always think that's the most interesting thing. It's kind of that journey that therapists have taken to get to that point. And you know, from the people that we've met just since we've shortly been doing Therapist Corner, you know, as people have had some amazing journeys. And there's very often, you know, there's reasons why they've chosen the path that they've chosen as well. And I think that's interesting as much as, you know, how they run the business as well, because everybody runs the business kind of differently. And sometimes sharing some of that, you can really pick up kind of tips as to, oh, so and so does it this way, is using this tool, that could save me so much time. So that kind of collaboration.
When I was starting out, if I could have heard that people's struggles and challenges, and it would have given me a lot more confidence, because I was so uncertain, had so much nerves about, will it work out, will I get referrals, and you know, to hear those stories I think is really powerful. But also like this week, for our paid subscribers, we've got them to put their websites in a post. So there's like a Twitter function, and there's in terms of a thread, so we can post a comment. Like this week we've put, share your website, and Sophie's going to pick 3 or 4 and she's going to give them some tips on how they can improve the website. So and then everybody can learn from those tips that Sophie put out there, rather than us doing it one-to-one. We can do it one-to-many and have a bigger impact, and people can get access to us for £8 a month, which, you know, is just so cheap and cost effective, isn't it? Really,
which I just find it's the rewarding bit, being able to get to more people, because I think therapists do, you know, I talk to therapists, it's like, oh well, I'm no good kind of technically, I don't understand things technically, and I think that sometimes holds therapists back from really actually pursuing that kind of private practice, because they see this huge blocker of you know, the technical side of it. And I think we're hoping through Therapist Corner that we can knock down some of those barriers and just simplify a lot of those things for people, so that they, you know, therapists have the confidence to launch a private practice. Because a lot that we speak to are, I've still got one foot in the NHS, I'm still doing some of my NHS work,
or working with referral agencies. So although we've come from completely different backgrounds, and never did we think our worlds collide, and you know, we've employed a moderator.
Yes. It's not all plain sailing, listeners.
We had a lovely round before we started this episode, and we were wondering whether we'd have to press pause when we start having a row, and then Susan and Emily would have to edit it out. So far so good. But we've got Claire, who is she's on Instagram. She's got a company called Grow with Moxie, and she is a technical kind of VA, which for me, I've worked with a number of virtual assistants, and while they've been great, I think to have somebody who can work technically, she understands Substack and she understands websites, and it's just, so she's going to be doing kind of, we've got one document, haven't we, and we put our to-dos in that, and she's running with it, and so that kind of is going to help us manage.
I think that's even been a journey, hasn't it, that kind of VA side of things, because I've always been, you know, oh, we can do it ourselves, and sometimes you just can't do it all yourself.
You can, but it's exhausting, and we'd like to go on holiday at times.
And stay married. Yes.
And all those things. So so I think this is going to be a really big help. But the more we think about Substack, I can just see how, because we thought actually we'd be wanting to attract founding members, and we've got a few founding members, and I'm really enjoying intensively working with a few small businesses. The people that have joined us as founding members are hugely motivated to make big changes and take their business to the next level, or really kind of, they are so determined to set up in private practice. They want that intensive support. But I actually think it's the kind of monthly pay subscribers where it's going to become financially a lot more rewarding for us, which I didn't think would be where my eye was. But as we do this, I'm thinking therapists can add this as an amazing revenue stream to their private practice, and in that way help people who can't afford therapy, because the way therapy is evolving on mental health services, we need to provide lots of choice, don't we? Lots of people are not ready to come to therapy. I think that is a big step. And sometimes, there's still 12-month waiting lists in the NHS. People want something while they're on those waiting lists. They might not be able to afford private therapy, but a platform like Substack might help therapists provide their expertise and knowledge in a way that's really affordable. £8 a month for people. They could then come on group calls, or ask you questions in the comments. You can share your blog posts. I've been putting out blog posts for years, and it's not financially. I've been doing
That's
it
the
kind
problem,
of
isn't it? It's you do, and I think that especially for small anything you do, if you're just you're self-employed, you think, okay, I'm doing this, where is it bringing me in some money? And you can clearly see that with your client work. But when you're doing your blog posts, it's like, I'm spending a lot of time here, but how is this really, I want to do it, I want to help people, but I've also got to, to put it simply, you have to put food on the table. And I think with Substack, it allows you potentially that mechanism to make all that effort that you put into blog posts, to make it earn you some money, but also to service your customers as well, to allow them to have more of an affordable way of accessing your considerable skills and expertise in something as well. So I think it's a real opportunity.
I'll just do the maths quickly. I'm using my calculator. So
the abacus has come out.
£8 times that by 50 is a revenue of £400 a month. So if you can get 50 people paying you £8 a month, that's 400. And I think you could, I mean, we're putting out 2 posts a week. We're doing 3 Q&As a month. The value people are getting.
But enjoy those Q&As are lovely to do as well. I really enjoy doing those Q&A spots.
Yeah. And we've set this up. I'm a founder member with Sarah Tasker, and and I'm paying a couple of people £8 a month, and they are helping us set this up. It just feels like amazing value. So it's going to be interesting, isn't it? A lot of the big journalists have left, because ultimately it's kind of like a blogging platform. That's what it is, isn't it? And it gives you the option to email out to your email list, which is held within Substack, but you own the email list. So if you decide in 5 years' time, Substack's, there's a new platform on town, you can transfer your email list, and there's email lists are very valuable. But a lot of journalists are leaving mainstream newspapers, magazines, and coming on and writing on Substack. Farah Storer, who we've watched one of her interviews. She's from Cosmopolitan. She's earning, a lot of people are earning a full-time living on Substack now. And nobody knows about it. So you start early, you're an early adopter, and it's,
And it's a way to monetize. I think it gives journalists and authors a creative freedom that they perhaps can't get through normal kind of publishing houses, etc. And it also gives them an opportunity, gives them creative freedom and ability to monetize as well, which they've never had before. And anybody who, I think we're just discovering, anybody who writes a book knows, you're not going to become a millionaire through writing books. There just isn't that much. And you don't get that much back from it unless you're obviously a J.K. Rowling.
She does okay.
She does okay. Yes. A penny or two.
I suppose this brings us on to kind of, where we go from here. And very excitingly, we've got, I think next week we'll be airing I'm going to be interviewing Sarah Tasker, who is obviously, you know, she's her background is as a speech and language therapist. So she works in the NHS. And so while you think she doesn't have much connection with therapists, she probably does know quite a lot about our landscape. And she became a mum, and her health declined, and she started Instagram, and then that absolutely grew and grew and grew to over 300,000 followers and lots of sponsorship deals. She set up the Insta Retreat, which is a course for people wanting to learn Instagram. And now she's moving over to Substack, and she has got a course on the way, but she's going to come on the podcast on Ask the Therapist to talk about what Substack is, because she is now the expert in Substack, and how therapists can add Substack to their business model and potentially be able to help many more people out there getting really important mental health information and support out there in a really kind of cost-effective way for people, whilst earning an income for themselves and supporting their, because I do think that, lots of care is undervalued, but and we do need to make a living. With lots of therapists are women, and they are supporting families, and and then
I think there's that dirty word about kind of profit, isn't there, on some of these?
I know
struggle with that, but you do, it's about valuing what you do, the skill set that you've got, the training that's gone into it, etc., over many years, and you have a right to have a living out of that.
And I also think there's so much that goes on in the therapy room that is really, especially for CBT, we do a lot of psychoeducation. There's a lot of information that would be really useful if it was out there in the general domain. And every single therapist has their own unique way of getting that information across that's valuable to people. So I might explain something in one way, and a bunch of people get it, and somebody else explains it in a different way, and another bunch of people get it. We need choice over how we consume information. So she's going to come on and do the podcast and explain that, which I'm very excited about.
I'm looking forward to that as well.
Yes. And then for paid subscribers of Therapist Corner, she's going to come in and do a private Q&A where we can really drill down. And I think she'll be answering, because I know lots of therapists are on Instagram. I'm sure she'll be open to answering some questions about Instagram and how you manage that as well. So that's going to be for paid subscribers on Therapist Corner. And then we're going to release a hour-long Q&A that we did with some people that joined us for one of our coaching sessions, which I can't wait to release that. It was a really kind of fun Q&A hour. And then we have a podcast episode where I'm interviewing Amy Rose Wellbeing, who is on Instagram as the self-esteem therapist. She has really done lots of transformation within her business, and she's niched down. She's in the process of doing a new website and branding, so that'll be all ready to go, and you'll get to meet Amy, and she'll kind of talk to us about self-esteem and how she works with clients with self-esteem.
Got a lot on a plate at the moment, I think, maybe.
She's very busy, yes. but very motivated, very determined, and working really, really hard.
Yes, yes, it certainly is.
Thank you for coming on the podcast, Sophie.
It's a pleasure. Yes, you've made it.
I've been doing this podcast for 4 years now. It's had 80,000 downloads. I've had a meeting with Emily and Sue this morning, and we really want to hit 1 million mark. So I feel like you absolutely should listen to a few of the episodes, because they've been rather good.
I listen to you enough at home. Why would I do that?
Right, before it goes downhill.
Yeah, and on
that note, thank you very much for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you, everybody, for listening and supporting us, and we look forward to seeing you in Therapist Corner, hopefully. Or if you want to find out more about Sophie and what she does, she is on nowhere to be found on social media at all. She's absolutely hopeless.
I'm lurking in corners.
But I don't know what corners they are.
Just through PocketSite.
Yeah, it's PocketSite. So you've got PocketSite, which is the website builder for therapists, but there's actually loads of resources on there. There's some free downloads. You've got a free SEO download guide. You've got a free branding guide. The thing that everybody loves is the fee calculator. So if you don't know what to charge, or you want to make sure that you are charging a sustainable fee per hour for your clients, you can use the fee calculator. People really love that. What else have you got? We've got the free getting started in private practice checklist as well.
Yeah,
so there's
branding guide. Yeah, free branding guide on there as well. Yeah.
So you can go and have a look around. She also does, although don't come in your droves because you're quite busy. You do if somebody thinks that PocketSite might be right for them, they're not sure if PocketSite might be right for them, or they want you to do a bespoke website, you do a 30-minute free consultation, don't you?
But yeah, I'll have a chat with people and talk it through and just explain how PocketSite works. And it depends where people are in the kind of business journey as to whether PocketSite is going to be the right solution or something more.
But I'd always recommend that that people talk to about 3 website designers, because it's a long-term relationship, like your accountant is, and there's these core people that you work with in your business, and you need to really get on with them. You need to feel like you can work with the person, don't you? And that you can phone Sophie up if it's Sophie, and she'll be able to help you and support you and get a good feel with them. So even if you think PocketSite's for you, do reach out to a few people.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's always the kind of Wix and Squarespace around as well, and they're they have their own market share as well. So.
Yes, and you can talk to people, but keep it quiet. Don't tell anybody, because you don't want to be snowed under with that, do you?
I'm writing a chapter, remember?
Yes, you're busy. Thank you very much, Sophie.
Cheers. Take care.
I feel like we should have a drink.
See you. Bye.